Have you ever wondered what happens to a warrior when he loses everything? No master, no home, no purpose. This is the story of a Ronin who walked through a frozen wasteland for years, carrying nothing but 2 swords and a promise he could never forget. And before this journey ends, he will face a choice that changes his life forever. The wind screamed across the mountains. Snow fell so heavily that the path ahead was almost invisible. Most travelers would have turned back. Most warriors would have sought shelter, but this man kept walking, step after step, through ice, through hunger, through loneliness. He was known only as the Ronin. His straw hat was worn and cracked by countless storms. His cloak was torn from years of travel. The scars on his face told stories that no one remained alive to hear. To strangers, he looked like a wandering swordsman. To those who knew the truth, he was the last survivor of a forgotten tragedy. Years earlier, the Ronin had served a noble lord, a ruler respected across the land. The people prospered. The villages were safe, and honor still meant something. The Ronin swore an oath to protect that peace. For many years, he fought faithfully. Together, they defeated raiders, protected merchants, and brought justice wherever darkness spread. But the greatest threats rarely come from outside the walls. Sometimes, they come from those closest to us. One winter night, betrayal arrived. A trusted advisor secretly allied himself with rival clans. He sold military plans, opened hidden gates, and doomed everyone inside the castle. The attack came under cover of darkness. Flames consumed the fortress. Steel clashed against steel. The sky itself seemed to burn. The Ronin fought desperately to reach his lord, but fate was cruel. By the time he arrived, the battle was over. His lord was dead. The castle reduced to ashes, and the kingdom he had sworn to protect no longer existed. After that day, the Ronin abandoned his name. He abandoned his past. He wandered endlessly, across mountains, across forests, across forgotten roads. Each year felt longer than the last. The world seemed unchanged. Greed ruled powerful men. The innocent continued to suffer, and honor became little more than a story. The Ronin began to wonder if his journey had any meaning at all. Maybe his oath had died alongside his master. Maybe there was nothing left worth fighting for. And for the first time in his life, he considered putting down his swords forever. Then, he arrived at a small mountain village. The people looked exhausted. Fear hung in the air like a shadow. Children stayed indoors. Farmers spoke in whispers. Nobody smiled. The village elder eventually revealed the truth. A warlord controlled the valley. His soldiers demanded food, gold, and obedience. Those who resisted simply vanished. The villagers begged the Ronin for help, but he refused. He had buried too many friends, lost too much already. This was not his fight. Or so he believed. That night, while sitting beside a fire, he heard a small voice. A child stood in the doorway. The boy stared at the swords hanging from the Ronin's waist. Then, he asked a simple question. "Are you a samurai?" The Ronin remained silent. The child smiled. "My father told me, samurai protect people." And then, the boy walked away. The Ronin sat motionless. Yet those words echoed louder than any battlefield. That night, he couldn't sleep. Memories returned. His lord's teachings, his oath, the people he had failed to save. For years he believed he had lost his purpose. But perhaps purpose was never something to be found. Perhaps it was something to be chosen. Before sunrise, the Ronin rose to his feet. He tightened his cloak, adjusted his hat, and walked toward the valley entrance. The snowstorm had returned. The wind howled, and in the distance, he heard approaching horses. The warlord's soldiers were coming. The villagers watched from their homes, terrified, confused. The Ronin stood alone in the center of the road, one man, against an army. The first rider emerged through the snow, then another, and another, until the valley was filled with armored soldiers. The leader laughed. What can one old man possibly do? Slowly, the Ronin placed his hand upon the hilt of his sword. The wind stopped. The snow seemed to freeze in the air. And for the first time in years, the old warrior smiled, because he finally remembered who he was. To be continued.